This is the Hakkotsu M40A3 takedown guide brought to you by Cheeseman Industries. So the first thing you want to do when you're taking this apart, you want to notice there are 4 screws here. Here, 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 and here. I've already loosened them because they're a pain to take apart and to take out, but you get the gist of it. That piece that just fell out right there, tiny little washer that goes on the screw. If you lose that, then these screws will end up pinching your cylinder and it gets very, very nasty. And then all these screws are different sizes, so just be sure that you put them back in the same spot. So I like to do it like this. And then this back screw is really short. Don't confuse that with the very last screw, which is really, really long. I know that's a perfect "that's what she said" setup, but anyway. So keep them separate, wrong way around, and then you can just pull off the barrel and receiver from the stock. Okay, so now we have our barrel and our receiver. First we're going to take off the trigger guard, or not the trigger guard, sorry, the trigger box. First thing that you want to do is pull out the spring guide stopper. It's a pain, but pretty easy to do via screwdriver. This has a really rough bolt push, mostly due to this piece. So what I did that helped quite a bit, not nearly as much as I would have liked, is I polished this up quite a bit, and it could probably even use some more. So I'm going to do a little bit more, but the bottom line is this needs polishing. Otherwise you're going to have one hell of a time cocking this. Then there are 2 screws, one here, one here. Unscrew them and you can pull out your trigger box. Pull it off of the rifle. Now technically right now I could pull the cylinder out, but honestly with VSR style rifles this is just easier. So there's our trigger box, and then we have this whole kit and caboodle to take off. Now this is very much like the TM L96 style, so just take the screws off. This is the loading ramp, in case anyone's interested. Now this screw right here that I'm pointing at has a tiny little spacer right there, and if you lose that, then you can torque it and actually break this whole assembly, which I don't believe you can buy aftermarket in metal, but I don't actually know, so don't quote me on that one. Anyway, just don't lose that little spacer, because if you do, then you will torque it down to the point where it'll just snap. And again, just keep track of the screws, not all of them are the same size. And then this thing just pops right off. And then little thingamajig right there. Okay, so then these 2 screws need to be unscrewed before you unscrew the outer barrel from the receiver, because if you don't, you will scratch the threads to hell and just absolutely destroy it. And the metal is not so good that only some pieces would be destroyed. Just about all the pieces in contact with these screws would be completely just annihilated. So take those out, and then you'll notice the loading fin is still on there and it's sort of sticking out. That's not too big of a deal. When you unscrew it, just unscrew it normally. The loading fin sort of goes along with it. You may have a piece fall out. Again, not a big deal. You can put it right back in. All it does is hold the loading fin on the cylinder head. So just unscrew this. Ta-da! Yikes. Anyway, put the outer barrel and hop up and inner barrel assembly aside for now. We're going to deal with those in a second. And then you have your cylinder and cylinder head and all that stuff. This loading fin comes off. If you just see that little thingy right there, just take that off, and the whole fin should come right off. Let me see if I can't. There we go. You may need a small tool to help you get that off. It's kind of hard. There you go. So now we have this in one piece, so now I can separate the cylinder and the receiver. I polished the inside of the receiver and it's still acting strange, so just make sure you polish, and polish again. This actually really needs a good deburring right along here because it's really, really nasty. And so, just go over it with a Dremel a couple of times. Just make sure everything's polished up and ready to roll. This could use some polishing. All they have is the single most basic crowning you have ever seen on this. So, polish that up. I don't know if I showed you, but you can see sort of little tiny burrs right there. And that's even after I polished it, so I'm going to go back and polish that a little bit more. And then the receiver, nothing special. It's basically just a VSR receiver with a giant slit cut down the middle. So that's that. I'm sure you all can figure out how to take apart the cylinder. Not too complicated. Just use some needle nose pliers and put them in those two holes. Turn it. Nothing really that special. I believe it's VSR compatible because of this little hole right here. That's mostly found in VSR or bar rifles. So that's pretty much the biggest reason, that and the fact that they use a 45-degree piston. These sears are pot metal and crap, so there's not much you can do about that. And then the barrel assembly is super easy. Just this one screw right here. Pull it all the way out. Don't lose it. And then the hop up and barrel assembly will slide right out. Normally there are barrel spacers glued on here, 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 and here, but they're plastic and crap, so don't use them. This chamber is prepped for a TDC mod right now, top dead center adjuster, so this is not a good example to show you because normally there would be the adjuster bar like the VSR style and something here and some more twiddly bits, but there you go. The only thing that really irks me about this part is, first, the plastic is crap. Here, let me show you one of the pieces, and it bends like crazy. I mean, you can see that. You can see the bend in that, and this piece should not be torquing nearly this much. Anyway, and this part right here, I don't know if you can quite tell, but they basically just took a VSR chamber and ground it down until it fit, which is just bad QC in my opinion.